All right, great. Well, here we are again, doing a conscious conversation here on Edgar Casey's ARE. I am Kathy Lamm, the marketing director here at the ARE Center, and I am pleased to be joined with Mr. Guru Mike Powers.
Yeah, that's right. Don't ever forget it. How's it going, everybody? It's good to be here again.
Yeah, radio personality, spiritual guru, Mr.
Ugh,
Powers.
it's a
Gotta love
major work in progress,
it.
but
Yes, aren't we
it's all
all?
yeah, absolutely.
Aren't we all? So tonight we're going to dive into a specific topic that Edgar Casey talked a lot about as well. But today we call it our chakra system. And,
Hmm.
um, Edgar Casey had referred to our chakras as essentially spiritual energy centers. So that's what we're going to be talking about. The thing that you and I typically do is we take the material that Edgar Casey brought forward, back in the early 30s,
Hmm.
and we take it and translate it to be able to utilize it in our lives every day today. So we're not going to dive too much into all of the readings and interpretation of the readings and all of that stuff. Really, what you and I are going to focus our conversation and energy on tonight is how do we utilize that material in today's life? Sound good?
Yeah, it sounds great, and I have a lot of questions today for you. Not so many answers, but more questions.
Uh-oh, I
I
guess I
think I'm going
better.
to join the comment section today.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. So, when I do my own spiritual work, my own healing, I use the chakra system, which is the same as the spiritual energy centers, in most of the work that I do. That's how I get information. It's how I give information. It's how I give direction. We are controlled by those spiritual centers. I do have a diagram to share. Can I share that?
Oh,
Maybe we could
absolutely.
start there. So I have a couple slides actually. Oops. Let me see if I
By the
can.
way, I love your background today. That is, what
Oh,
is that?
thanks.
Is that
Yes, I'm coming to
CGI?
you. I am coming to you from the Akashic Records. Yes, that is
So
a beautiful
cool. It's so
thing. You
cool.
like that?
Yeah.
The Akashic Records Library.
It's from
So,
Amazon behind me today. For those of you that want my background, you can have it for $7.99 on Amazon.
well, that is lovely too.
Thank you.
It is. All right, so let's go ahead and look at this diagram here. So the diagram that's over here on the right is really what Edgar Casey's interpretation of the seven spiritual centers are. And he was really pointing out the endocrine system, the pineal gland, the pituitary gland, the thyroid, the thymus, the adrenals, and so on. So in regards to looking at today's chakra system, which we refer to, they're the same. They're the same. You have the crown chakra, the third eye chakra, the throat chakra, the heart chakra, solar plexus, the sacral, and the root. And here we have all of these as well, as he's pointed out here. The same with the colors. The pituitary gland represents the violet, which is actually the third eye here. So, which is indigo, and then gold here, or um, actually violet up here for the crown. So, and then the throat chakra and so on and so forth. So as you can see, both of them are very similar. All right. Now, when we talk about the chakra system, it means wheel. Chakra is a Sanskrit word for wheel, and it refers to the energy points within the body that control all of our physical, mental, and spiritual aspects of our being. And so when Edgar Casey referred to it, he referred to it as channels of energy forces for creation. And truly the same thing. He said, when you tune into these seeds of creation, the spiritual centers, that one may be awakened to the impulses or the attributes associated to each. And then it may be added to with starting with the first of the spiritual: faith, hope, then virtue, then knowledge, then brotherly love, then understanding, then Christ consciousness, then love itself. So that truly is the purpose of understanding our chakra system, our spiritual centers, and how we can utilize them to change our daily lives now. Now, Edgar Casey did, as I said, a lot of readings on the spiritual centers, and you can actually find them. He really used it in regards to the book of Revelations and the translation. And in our member section, you can find the information under our circulating files in this here. So in this reference guide, there's a lot of information there. About 265 pages. I wasn't going to be able to cover all of that tonight with you, Mike.
Oh,
But
you didn't get to it today at all?
no.
During the
So
course of your busy day?
I got to a bit of it. So,
you
okay.
want
So,
you want like a one sheet printout or something along those lines? Yeah,
yeah,
I like the fact that you did bring up the fact that originally the chakras were talked about in the Vedas, which is the oldest Indian text, scriptures around like 1500 to 500 BC, and it's referred to there as like the energy center that like corresponds with specific organs, and then emotions, physical, psychological, and so on. And if it's kind of like a pipeline, I like to think of it with little ports along the pipeline. And it's a really simple way to understand that if one part of the pipeline in your house here gets clogged up, it's not going to run. It's not going to flow smoothly through the rest of the pipeline. And it's the simple way of putting it. But
that's
um, yeah, so many different ways to think about the chakras, energy centers, spiritual centers. Um, but I think at the end of the day, we're all going to the same place.
that's right. Well, I mean, we are all, in fact, energy. I mean, Edgar Casey said that himself. He said that energy and manifestation, and that is what we are. And when you think about it that way, and we're made up of all of these different elements, our physical being, our emotional being, our energetic body, our light body, we are affected, and one does affect the other. A lot of times, you'll see people with, say, a certain type of cancer, say breast cancer or something, and breast cancer is typically associated with the heart chakra, and also with the solar plexus chakra. So, when those things are out of alignment for a long period of time, for spiritual imbalance, emotional imbalance, then it can cause dis-ease within our body, which causes dis-ease within that spot, within that place. It's funny. I can talk to a person and say, oh, you seem to be having some issues with your solar plexus. Have you been having indigestion? And they're like, oh my goodness, how did you know? So, and it's like, yeah, it's right there in the body.
And I think a lot of it brings us back to meditation and resting the body, relaxing the body, and paying attention to the signs as they come up in your body. When we do this show, the Conscious Conversations, we talk a lot about our emotions, and we talk about paying attention to our body and where we feel the emotion in our body. And a lot of this has to do with our spiritual energy centers. And to start with this will segue into this, the foundation would the root chakra, which or energy center, whatever you feel comfortable with. But the best way I could describe it would be, it's kind of like the foundation for your house. You have a weak foundation, eventually the house will crumble slowly, though. And if you have a strong foundation, it will last a very, very long time.
That's right. I mean, these energy wheels actually spin within the body. And if you could think about the strands of DNA and how it actually spins as well, you could think about these wheels spinning within that. And like you said, if one gets you know, off course, or you have some sort of an imbalance in there, it throws your whole system off.
Mm-hmm.
So, we do have to be conscious of where each part of each aspect of this is in our life and in our body. So, do you want to go through the chakras real quick? The
Yeah,
spiritual,
yeah, yeah.
and just
Let's
talk
go
about
through them, and
what
we
they
could
are.
throw in little comments and stuff, and also throw in your comments as well, and questions and theories and anything you want.
So this is the way that I typically explain the chakra systems or the spiritual centers is we start at the base of the spine with the root chakra, and that energy is actually pointed down to the earth, and that is our grounding energy. It is very vibrant red burgundy color. It is associated with mother, father. It is associated with being able to take care of yourself, just being alive and just being. A lot of financial stuff is associated to it as being the core of being able to take care of yourself. Then you move up to your sacral chakra, which is like the color orange or tangerine. And that is associated with creation. So it is the creation chakra. It is the divine feminine, divine masculine. It is your creativity center and also your self esteem. Then we move up to the solar plexus chakra, which is a golden yellow, which is right below your rib cage. And this is associated with who I am to the world. Who do I present myself to the world? And a lot of times when this is off balance, we have a flight or fight response
Yes.
that
Uh,
happens.
and the thing is about, and I wanted to ask you because I want to hang in these first three chakras for a minute, if we could, because they get a bad rap a lot of the times. Because I would say the solar plexus is the roof of the ego. It's where it's like, boom, this is all ego from here on up. And when you can take these things and keep them in balance and have them flowing up to the heart chakra, which we'll get to in a minute, um, you go from ego to the true meaning behind everything you're doing and the actual love behind all of your happenings and your being. So I find these three very, very interesting, and I just want to know how you spin it in a positive manner as opposed to it being the roof of the ego.
Well, these three chakras are associated with the earth. They're associated with our terrestrial being. They're all about who we are and why we're here, that sort of thing. So it is about our terrestrial selves. Even you said today in an earlier conversation that, it is important for us to have these different responses. That flight or fight response is actually helps us too. It protects us in certain situations.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we do have to fight, or sometimes we have to run, depending
Yeah,
on the situation.
I think the best situation or way to describe it would be you're walking across the street, somebody's texting, somebody's on their phone while they're driving. Automatically, that's where you're going to have the instinct to catch yourself, go, oh my God, have one of those, oh my gosh moments, and throw yourself out of the way. Or you're being attacked and you need to react and you need to respond. And that's where you're going to get it from. A lot of animals live in these bottom three energy centers solely based on reproduction and survival. They're the survival energy centers. And
Mhm.
then you also have, the instinct, the fight or flight, knowing when they're being hunted and when they're the hunter. And it's pretty interesting how you can just hang in these three and through them learn how to transition up and have it all become love.
Right. And a lot of our issues, our life issues that we deal with, reside typically in these three chakras. Now, they are connected to the upper three chakras as well. And I'll talk about that in just a second. And, how we affect the upper three chakras with the lower three chakras. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, typically what you would do is continue going up. So we would go through the heart space, then the throat, then the third eye, then the crown. But I'm going to do the reverse and go the crown, the third eye, and the throat.
I
So
don't know if I'm ready for this. This is going to be good. I've never done it this way before.
if we start with the crown and we think about the crown is opening our energy to source, opening to God. This is where we get our intuition. This is where we get our information. And this is our channel and our direct connect to God. So that chakra that's on top of our head is also pointed straight up in the shape of a cone to the center of the universe, to receive information within the body from source. And then we move to the third eye chakra, which is intuition, it's foresight, it's being able to see things clearly through spirit. You know, you talk about being inspired, and in spirit comes from the third eye chakra. And then we talk about the throat chakra. And the throat chakra allows us to communicate that of spirit. Now, a lot of times, and I've said this, you know, to many of the people that I work with, is that we have to be careful the way that we say things, that it has to be intentional. You either pull it from the heart chakra up and you say it with love, or you allow it to flow directly through spirit out of your mouth. If this is not something that we create ourselves, you know, then that kind of saves us with what we say. But so those three chakras are essentially connected to spirit.
Question, question in regards to, you know, the throat, and can it jump from the solar plexus, fight or flight,
Yes.
to the throat, out through the mouth, into the universe?
That's right. And the throat and the solar plex chakra are very connected to one another. You know, and it typically, if there is an issue with one, the other one is really disturbed. If you think about a chain link and you
Mm.
get a kink in the chain and you think about where the resistance is, where it appears back on the same level. So that would be, you know, the throat chakra if you looked at the link in a chain.
Yeah, that's it. I could tell you've been teaching this for quite a long time. So it's fascinating because yeah, I think about the, you know, these transitions and how really when we get into these flow states, they're nothing more than all of these energy centers working together in perfect harmony and in unison. And when we get into that space, you know, then once we're there, we tend to get lost in trying to figure out how to stay there instead of letting it just be. Our intellect kind of kicks in and our mind tries to figure it out as opposed to just feeling it and enjoying it. We want to always dissect it. So that, you know, that's why when you went, oh, I'm going to start from the top now and go down, I went, whoa, I don't know if I can do this. This might be difficult for me because oftentimes, you know, we are working from the bottom up when it
Mhm.
comes to our energy centers.
Right. So now let's talk about the heart. So if you talk about the heart in the scheme of things in our mind, body, spirit of our being, our heart is where love exists. Our heart is, you know, the love of others. It is receiving love. It is also self-love. And that's really, really important. And a lot of people forget it's the love of God, it's the love of source, it's the love of our planet. So the heart chakra is actually the connector between the earth chakras and the spirit chakras. So it connects the two together.
Mm. And you could take something as simple as, and I'm trying to think of a proper example, but when we're working in the bottom three, where we can easily get caught in ego, what benefits us, and it's when we take the energy of those bottom three and it's almost like a filter, the heart chakra. You're almost filtering those energies, and they go from selfish energies to what benefits all of us energies.
Hmm. Yeah, that's right. And you know, they do work in coordination with one another. And one of the things that I do, anybody who's done any work with me, I say, take a deep breath all the way to the base of your spine and out of the top of your head. That's right. And I do that in my meditations. I do it in all of the spiritual work that I do. And the reason that I do it is because you breathe in life force energy and you pull it all the way down to your root chakra, clearing all of your chakras. And then you exhale out of the top of your head, clearing all of your chakras then. So it's life force energy that's just clearing you and rebalancing you. You know, we're all out of balance all the time. I mean,
Yeah,
things will happen from one minute to the next to send us out of balance, you know?
absolutely. Yeah, things we have absolutely no control over, and you know, it's up to us at the end of the day to really to do our inner work, to keep ourselves in balance best we can, so that when life throws us off balance and tries to shove us over, we can kind of brace ourselves for these little moments. Another question. See, I told you I'm going to have so many questions for you today. Can we talk about the and I don't know if this is something you want to do or we could pass on this, but the invisible energy center above your head?
The
Well,
ninth,
it might be visible to some, but
yeah, I think it's actually the ninth chakra. The eighth chakra, I think, is below your feet that goes into the earth.
mm-hmm.
But the ninth chakra is that chakra that holds energy above you. That is, I would say that it's like the storehouse before it gets to the crown chakra
Yeah.
of information, and that's where we can pull from. Um,
Yeah, because I was doing a meditation, energy center meditation recently, where I was feeling just outside of them, like I was feeling them inside, the in between, just outside, and then almost expanded it throughout the whole room, house, neighborhood, and so on. And then and you know, you don't always get here as somebody who meditates, but into just an infinite black space. And I did this through a chakra meditation. And I
mhm.
was thinking, and where I really got to where I wanted to be in this was when I got to the heart space. And it seems like energies move so much faster once you get there. Is this sound about right to you? Because they move slower in the bottom three, and then you get to the heart, and it's once it goes through this filter, it almost kind of shoots up and out
Yeah.
out your head.
Yeah, but the other thing that you have to recognize is your awareness. So your awareness moves energy. So if you start off with just your simple awareness to begin with, and as you build upon that,
Mm-hmm.
more energy is created. So of course it's going to go faster. And when you go into meditation, you have the ability to change your light body, your energetic body, those spiritual centers as well. Um, Edgar Casey talked a lot about that. I do have a couple questions that some people
Sure,
have
sure.
asked. So they said, is the sacral chakra or the root chakra related to panic attacks? My
Mm,
answer to that would be both could be, but the solar plex chakra would be more likely for panic attacks because it is that fight or flight response.
yeah.
So we typically have a lot of anxiety when it comes to the solar plex chakra. Now, could our root situations, say our current finances or someone being sick in our family or dealing with a situation of grief or something like that in our root chakra, could that affect our sacral? I mean, I'm sorry, affect our solar plexus to also give us that flight or flight response because it's fear based. So
Mm-hmm.
that's where anxiety comes from, is fear. So yes, I would say yes to both of them, but I would say that they would be in coordination with one another, that they could be in coordination with one another. What do you
That's perfect. I don't even need to add anything to that.
The other thing is just is courage associated with the third chakra, which is also the solar plex chakra. So absolutely,
Yeah.
that's the part where you stand up and you say, I'm going to fight for this. This is something that I truly believe in. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to fight for it. A lot of times people's issues with the solar plex chakra in particular is when people say something that is not you and classify you in a certain way. So they put you into this box and classify you. That causes a lot of resistance for most people, whether it's at work or whether it's in your home life or whatever. And that causes a lot of strife and a lot of fight or flight um, situations as well.
Yeah, and I think too, the when it comes to courage, it could travel both ways. And the heart space doesn't always necessarily just mean I love everything and love is perfect and love, 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 love. It means acknowledging everything that goes with having a heart, being that it could be broken as well. But when you're acknowledging it and you're actually living in it and you're feeling it, paying attention to what it is that you're feeling, when courage comes, through the solar plexus, it's also it's pointing you in the right direction to heal, as opposed to that fight or flight. I'm just going to ignore it and move out of it. That's why we say pay attention to what you're feeling in the body. Oftentimes we talk about our awareness. Well, our awareness means our body too. Our awareness means how we're talking to people, how we're acting, how we're witnessing. Um, it's kind of like okay, you have a sky, and you know you're the whole thing, and these clouds are just, you know, you're the awareness watching the whole thing the whole time, and that goes with all of it. it's it's not, it's not just up here, it's here, it's here, it's everywhere, it's everywhere. It's just paying attention as opposed to shying away. That's been the biggest thing for these conversations, actually paying attention to what's going on, whether it's good or bad.
Right. Yes, absolutely. And going back to what you said a minute ago about the solar plexus and your throat chakra, and that's where the voice comes out. Well, sometimes the voice doesn't come out, and then you have issues with the throat chakra. You're not able to speak your truth. You're not able to tell people the true way that you're feeling, in fear of repercussions, or the withdrawal of love, or not acceptance or judgment.
Mm,
That could actually be associated with the root for parents or family. You may not speak your truth.
yeah.
It could also be associated with the sacral. You're in a relationship and you're afraid that someone's going to leave if you really tell them how you feel. So all of our chakras are essentially connected to one another and work together in that energetic body. And
Yeah,
it is
yeah.
that awareness.
Yeah, that was beautiful, because I think that all the time when, you know, we're going through our day to day, and we might have a really busy day, or we're going through a tough time, and we, you know, we're feeling it, because, you know, if we're doing any kind of work on ourselves, any kind of practice, we're taught to actually face these things head on. So when we're feeling it, it can bring us down. Oh, you're like, oh, there it is. I am sad, or I am depressed, or whatever it is that's happening, whatever it is that you're feeling. But what's pretty amazing about the heart space is the fact that when you're living your life in a true way, when you're connecting with the soul, when you're doing whatever it is that is your true nature through work, maybe it's your hobby, you can immediately just it's not like people think it's an escape, but it's not an escape. It's you living your truth. You know, you're going through all the shit you have to go through as a human being, but when you're really living your truth, it elevates you to a place that is real. Like the rest of the other stuff is not real. That stuff is. You know, I think about going on stage. You know, I play music, and I could be tired and bummed out all day, and you know, it's been maybe it was a long week, maybe I'm just exhausted because, you know, I have a regular job. But the second I go on stage, my something, it's not even my mind, it's just something from here just kind of flows up, and then all of a sudden here I am in this amazing space that I didn't know existed just a couple of minutes ago. And that's just being in tune with your body. So when you're feeling these things throughout the body, just notice them. Notice them. Oh, I am. It's okay. Like, you know, we do these things all the time. People forget that it's okay to be happy, and it's also okay to be sad. It's okay to be in bliss, and it's okay to be depressed, because when you're in these states, you're just noticing them anyway. You're just watching all of it. And when you're in these really soulful situations, that's pretty good. I like to call it soulful situations. It does. It elevates you, and then you're really seeing your true self, who you really are.
Hmm. Yeah. And I would say that you would be working in spirit when you do that, as a lot of artists do,
Yes.
inspired. You have that inspiration that you don't know where it comes from. I would say you would be working out of your top three chakras,
Yeah.
with the voice, and pulling in the information, the inspired, and so yeah, that's beautiful. The other trick that I use to kind of reset the chakras very quickly is, I gave you the breath, using the breath, the prana breath, pulling that in and clearing out your chakra system. But also, if you want to envision light beginning in your heart center and just allowing that to expand outside of your body through all of your chakras, it will clear. The divine light will clear your chakra energy and return you to that divine state of alignment. And that's truly what we're looking for at all times.
Yeah, and for the rationalists of the world, I mean, there's so much science behind all of this now as well, which is always good. I don't know. I think about the news sometimes. Maybe it isn't, but it's always good for me. It's and I think that yeah, I think it's a belief. It's a shift. No matter what it is that it's like a mythical story. If it sounds out there, well, what's wrong with embracing it if it elevates you, if it lifts you up? And I feel that way about the mystical. It's like the stuff that your brain struggles to comprehend and tries to rationalize and figure out. If you could just let go of that for a little while and let it take you to that space that you're looking for, it's quite beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. We have another question,
Oh, all right.
and I want to share this as well. I want to go back to sharing the screen that I shared
Okay.
just a few minutes ago, because the question was, do you use the prayer, um, the Our Father prayer? And Edgar Casey actually talked a lot about this and aligning the prayer with each one of the chakras, each one of the energy centers. And this too, this outline, and I will share this in the comments section after our conversation. But he had said, there were certain aspects of the Lord's Prayer that were included, that were affected and affected each one of the chakra systems to bring us into alignment to source. So as you say the Lord's Prayer and recognize each one of them, it actually brings our chakra system into alignment with source as well. So I will share this too.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Mike, this has been a wonderful conversation with you as always.
Yeah, this
Very
is really nice, very educational too today.
Yeah, we have to take all of the things out there, including the words of Edgar Casey, as many other people on the planet, and use them as tools to make our lives better. And that's really what the ARE, the organization, is built upon, is
Yeah.
taking this information and using it in your day-to-day life, not just referring back to it, but
Yeah.
using.
Yeah, it's easy, to read it and hear it in the moment and have it lift you. But if you don't carry it with you and work with it and find what way works for you, what makes you most comfortable, what is making you a better person day in and day out, you might as well just go on about your day. You might as well just leave the books there until you're ready for them. Just leave the videos there until you're ready, and the YouTube until you're ready. But that's the beautiful part about these conversations. If it just makes us like that much better and that much more conscious, and we can protect our energy and elevate it a little bit more. God, I mean, we're doing the right thing. It feels good.
Mhm. I agree. I agree. Well, thank you, Mr. Powers, Mr. Gruder,
Thank you.
for a
Thank you.
wonderful night. And we'll see you in 2 weeks.
We'll be here. No technical issues today, by the way.
Yeah, this is wonderful. All the stars aligned, all of our chakras aligned.
I know. It's fantastic. Well, thank you again. It was a lot of fun tonight. Bye,
Yep.
everybody.
Thank you. Bye bye.